In the South China Sea, a modern David and Goliath story is unfolding, one that pits a small nation against a regional giant in a contest not just for territory, but for dignity and the rule of law. This is a battle fought not with weapons but with laws, cameras, and the relentless pursuit of truth. China, boasting the world's largest navy and vast resources, faces off against the Philippines, a much smaller nation, but one fiercely determined to defend its sovereign waters and the livelihoods of its people. For years, Chinese ships have swarmed, blocked, and harassed Filipino vessels, trying to squeeze them out of their own fishing grounds and supply routes, escalating tensions with every encounter. The risk of open conflict has always loomed, with competing claims, tense standoffs, and the ever-present threat of miscalculation at sea. But the Philippines chose a different path, one marked by courage, creativity, and a steadfast commitment to truth and international norms. Instead of meeting force with force, it turned to international law, diplomacy, and the power of public opinion, seeking justice in global courts and forums. The Philippines changed the rules of engagement, responding to China's shadowy tactics by shining a global spotlight on every encounter, ensuring the world could not look away. Filipino sailors now face down massive Chinese ships, their struggles and acts of defiance broadcast worldwide, inspiring support and sympathy from the international community. This is a battle for narrative and international support, not just territory, a contest to win hearts, minds, and allies across the globe. The Philippines is proving that in the 21st century, the most powerful weapon can be an idea, an alliance, or a single undeniable image that captures the world's attention. The drama plays out daily on remote reefs and shoals, where small boats and big ambitions collide in a test of will and resilience. Sometimes the greatest strength is simply standing firm for what's right, undaunted, unyielding, and determined to be seen and heard on the world stage. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade and a treasure trove of resources. Its strategic value has made it a flashpoint, with overlapping claims from Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and most aggressively China. China's sweeping 9-dash line cuts deep into its neighbors' exclusive economic zones, including the Philippines. For Filipinos, this isn't just about maps, it's about sovereignty, livelihoods, and national identity. China enforces its claims with gray zone tactics, intimidating flotillas, blockades, and harassment, always stopping short of open war. In 2012, China seized Scarborough Shoal, shutting out Filipino fishermen and exposing the power imbalance. The Philippines, outmatched at sea, needed a new strategy, one where size didn't decide the winner. The answer: take the fight to the court of international law. The stakes were high, but the Philippines was ready to challenge China's claims on a new battlefield. The world was about to watch history unfold. In 2013, the Philippines made a bold and unprecedented move. It sued China at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, taking a stand that few dared to imagine possible at the time. This was a pivotal moment, not just for the Philippines, but for the entire region. The case argued that China's sweeping 9-dash line had no basis in international law, and directly violated the Philippines' sovereign rights under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The legal team meticulously built their case, drawing on decades of maritime law and historical evidence. China refused to participate, dismissing the tribunal's authority outright. Despite this, the Philippines pressed on, determined to have its voice heard on the world stage. The Philippine legal team presented compelling evidence, showing that China's so-called islands were in fact mostly rocks or reefs. These features under international law were not entitled to vast maritime zones or exclusive economic rights. In July 2016, after years of hearings and deliberations, the tribunal delivered a sweeping and historic victory for the Philippines, sending shockwaves throughout the region. The court ruled that China's so-called historic rights claim was baseless, and that its actions within the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone were unlawful. This was a clear affirmation of the Philippines' maritime entitlements. The decision was legally binding, transforming the long-standing dispute into a matter of settled international law, and setting a precedent for future maritime conflicts. China rejected the ruling, refusing to recognize its legitimacy. Yet the Philippines now held both the moral and legal high ground, backed by the international community. The arbitral award became the foundation of the Philippines' new strategy, a shield in diplomatic negotiations and a sword in public campaigns, empowering its leaders and citizens alike. The world watched closely, witnessing how international law could serve as a great equalizer, even when facing a global superpower. The Philippines had changed the game, showing that courage and principle could alter the course of history. Its victory inspired other nations facing similar challenges, encouraging them to seek justice through peaceful, legal means. The power of the law was now on full display, reminding the world that justice, though sometimes slow, can prevail. After the 2016 legal win, the Philippines launched a new strategy, the Transparency Offensive. If China bullied in the shadows, the Philippines would expose every act to the world. Cameras, journalists, and social media became their new arsenal. Every Chinese blockade, ramming, or water cannon attack was filmed and released within hours. The footage was dramatic. Small Filipino boats facing down massive Chinese ships, the imbalance clear for all to see. China's denials no longer worked. The world could see the truth. Viral videos and images turned Chinese aggression into global headlines and diplomatic pressure. International support for the Philippines surged, while China faced growing condemnation. The Transparency campaign united Filipinos and won hearts and minds worldwide. By simply showing the truth, the Philippines turned every confrontation into a victory for its cause. In the battle for global opinion, the camera became mightier than the cannon. A key pillar of the Philippines' evolving strategy was revitalizing its alliance with the United States, a relationship rooted in decades of shared history and mutual interests. Bound by the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, the two nations reaffirmed their commitment, clarifying that any attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea would trigger U.S. support and a coordinated response. Under President Marcos Jr., the partnership deepened further, with the U.S. gaining expanded access to key Philippine bases, especially those strategically located near Taiwan and the contested Spratly Islands. Joint military exercises grew larger and more relevant, rehearsing real-world scenarios in disputed waters and building trust between the two militaries. The U.S. invested heavily in modernizing the Philippine military and Coast Guard, providing advanced training, increased funding, and state-of-the-art equipment to bolster the country's defense capabilities. This revitalized alliance became a powerful deterrent. China now had to carefully consider the risk of direct U.S. involvement in any confrontation. The Philippines led with transparency and a commitment to international law, but American backing provided the crucial strength needed to enforce those principles. The strategic calculus shifted dramatically. The Philippines was no longer isolated or vulnerable in the face of regional threats. Standing shoulder to shoulder with a superpower, the Philippines could now defend its sovereignty and interests without escalating to war. The alliance sent a clear and unmistakable message to the world. Aggression would not go unanswered, and unity would prevail. Together, the two nations ensured peace through credible strength, maintaining stability in one of the world's most contested regions. The old guard had returned, stronger and more united than ever before, ready to face the challenges of a new era. The Philippines didn't stop with the U.S. It built a global coalition. Japan, Australia, and European partners joined in, conducting joint patrols and exercises in the South China Sea. The Squad, Philippines, US, Japan, and Australia, became a symbol of unity and resolve. Even Canada, the UK, and France sent ships, all upholding international law. ASEAN, once divided, began speaking with a stronger voice for peace and rules. Every new partnership isolated China and strengthened the Philippines' position. The fight was no longer just regional, it was a global stand for a rules-based order. The Philippines was now backed by a chorus of international voices, defending the principle that might does not make right. Nowhere is the Philippines' resilience clearer than at Second Thomas Shoal. Here, the rusting BRP Sierra Madre, grounded in 1999, serves as a defiant outpost deep in Philippine waters. Filipino Marines endure harsh conditions, relying on risky resupply missions constantly harassed by Chinese ships. China tries to blockade the outpost, hoping to force its abandonment. But the Philippines broadcasts every confrontation, water cannons, dangerous maneuvers, even armed boarding attempts. The world watches as small, determined crews outmaneuver larger, more powerful adversaries. Each successful resupply is a victory for sovereignty and spirit. The Sierra Madre, fragile but unyielding, has become a global symbol of defiance. It endures not through firepower but through the will of its defenders and the nation behind them. Every mission reaffirms the Philippines' claim, without firing a shot. The rusty sentinel stands as proof that courage can outlast steel. The world sees a nation's spirit on display. The Philippines' strategy is peaceful, but not passive. It's investing in a modern, credible defense, fast missile boats, patrol vessels, and coastal missile systems like the BrahMos. The goal isn't to match China ship for ship, but to deter aggression and buy time for diplomacy. Every new asset is framed as defensive, not provocative. A stronger Coast Guard and Navy mean better patrols, safer documentation, and more effective transparency. The focus is on resilience, not escalation. The Philippines is building a 21st century defense, strong enough to prevent war, wise enough not to start one. Its greatest arsenal is a blend of law, alliances, and national resolve. The Philippines has shown the world that courage, law, and creativity can stand up to power. Its peaceful resistance has earned global respect and inspired other nations facing similar threats. No longer a pawn, the Philippines is now a principled middle power, shaping its own destiny. Its leaders and diplomats are sought after for their strategic insight. The lesson power today is multifaceted. Law, truth, and alliances matter as much as military might. The Philippine story is a beacon of hope, proving that the brave can shape the international order. In the South China Sea, the Philippines has safeguarded its waters and inspired the world. It's a bold strategy, and it's working.